Welcome to the third reaction, or the reaction to reading number 3. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, so a couple things. One, I thought I should bring up why I'm doing this. Why am I reading my entire book on YouTube so you can access it for free when it's a product that's meant to be sold and make me a bajillionaire, right? I enjoy it, honestly. I got a kid and I read to them all the time, and it's a lot of fun. And I think that listening to someone read is a legitimate form of reading and just kind of cool. It's actually how people used to read all the time 150 years ago because literacy wasn't that widespread. Not everybody could read, so somebody would have to read a story to people. Also, I had looked up hiring a professional to do the audiobook, and it's just not in the budget right now. So I was like, well, I'm just going to do this and enjoy it, and then maybe I'll hire a pro to do it and act it out and all that jazz one day. So that's just that. Another thing. Oh, so the details that Kyle talks about in this reading about body language. It's really interesting because I have like these really interesting conversations with people about what they like to read, with writers, really. And for me, what I really find fun and fascinating is the way the nonfiction I read informs the fiction that I write, and the fiction that I read informs the nonfiction that I write. For example, fiction I read that has like really pretty language or some real lyrical style or a really interesting approach to describing a scene, right? I use it often in like a nonfiction essay I might write to kind of help people feel like they're reading a story or they're being immersed in a story, not just reading an essay. But the nonfiction I read, I don't know, social science stuff really helps me elevate some of my characters that I'm creating in fiction. For example, Cato's knowledge of body language. I just happened to have read out of curiosity this book, The Definitive Book of Body Language, before I started working on this book. And that was actually because of somebody who I met in prison who was incredibly skilled at reading body language. I mean, the Army taught me how to do this. This is actually what kind of became a basis part of Moses' character and ultimately Cato's. And so, yeah, when I had some time, I read a book on body language. I found it really fascinating, and it really helped me create this informed presentation of Cato's own skillfulness with body language. And I guess the thing that I learned there is just that, like, I don't think there is such a thing as bad curiosity. Like anything that's kind of piques your interest and you just dive into it, you might be able to use it one day. Because I mean, it wasn't a plan for Cato to be like a body language guy, but it's like, oh, well, I have this resource and I took really good notes because the book was so fascinating. Might as well use it. Now Cato can leverage that skill. So I'm just saying that's just like, just be curious. Curiosity is a great thing and it's always going to be a useful skill. And I don't think that bad curiosity exists. One other thing, maybe two. There's a line that talks about, can I pull it up? No, wait, oh yeah. He sat back down on his cot and rubbed a finger against a rusty spot on its frame in between his legs. Rust is something that is constantly referenced throughout the course of the story. I'm not sure why. I know it has something to do with Star Wars, like the opening scenes of Star Wars. It seemed like this really kind of rusty movie, especially on the desert planet Tatooine, where you have all these like these machines and vehicles are just like ruined by sandstorms and stuff. And so there's like this real rustic quality. And so for some reason, I wanted to incorporate that in this advanced world where I have all these like flying cars and technology, but also rust. I don't know. So you'll hear that word used often throughout the course of the story for reasons that kind of escape me. And one small detail, something I don't know if like is the word, but appreciate is how parts of these scenes are actually taking me back to my time in prison. Just in the sense that like the scene where the fire alarm goes off and Cato turns around as soon as the guard opens the door. That was something we had to do. Like when I was in segregation, we had to face the wall. I mean, it's for the guard's safety, whatever, but I wouldn't have remembered that. I probably would have suppressed that memory because it's a really unpleasant one, but I did write this first draft while I was in prison. So like little details like that, me personally, I find fascinating just because I'm being dragged back to the past in certain ways. So some of those scenes actually really hit me like pretty head on. Not in like a bad way, just kind of like, oh, right, that did happen. Yeah, all right, that's it. This is